This is Dave Whelan with the Cambridge Spy in cooperation with WHCP Radio with another special program on election 2020. Tonight we are talking to Lajan Cephas, who is running for the second ward seat for the Cambridge City Council. Lajan, thanks for joining us. Could you kind of tell us what your most people don't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to run for public office. So I am kind of curious about, what drove you to take this step, and talk a little bit about Ward 2.
Well, what drove me to this step is I've always been in some sort of leadership position, whether it was in business, and for a short period of time, I was a correctional officer. I was an assistant shift supervisor with the local county jail here in Cambridge. And I was also a drill instructor for Warwick Community College, where I mentored many new recruits, many new people who wanted to make a new career in corrections. And it was recruits from the ECI prison, Wicomico County, Worcester, Wicomico, Talbot County, Caroline County, as well as Dorchester counties. So I've always had a role in leadership. What actually drove me to decide that, these skills that I've learned in these various business fields that I've worked in, as far as in law enforcement and in business, I just looked around at my city and I'm like, we have to do better. We can do better. So instead of me being complacent and going through the same routine every day, riding by the homes, instead of me doing the same routine every day, watching our fellow residents just be lost, in the whatever situation they were in, I decided I want to be part of the solution. So I joined a group called Millennials Demanding Change. There were several things we wanted to bring awareness of, as well as the housing in Cambridge. Like we did a lot of work in housing. There was a situation in Queen Anne's County with Dr. King. There was a controversy dealing with her where she brought to life, she brought to light the fact that racism exists everywhere, including Queen Anne County. And that was especially close to me because I lived there at one time and my children went to school in Queen Anne's County. So, we sort of Millennials Demanding Change. We were part of that, trying to bring light to the situation. And then I just got involved in city council, just calling in, listening and saying, hold up, this isn't making sense. Hold up. Okay, now I understand why we have an issue with the housing. We don't have inspections. So I just decided all these skills that I have, I know I can be a great asset. I know I could be a great tool for the city to make it better.
Speaking specifically about Ward 2, what is your vision for Ward 2? Where do you want to solve problems, and where do you see there's great potential?
The great potential that I see in Ward 2, Ward 2 is a little different than some of the other wards. We don't have as many homes that are deplorable, although they do exist. They're kind of like in the corners, so you kind of have to search for them a little more. But a great opportunity that we have is we have a lot of apartments that are federally funded, and oftentimes what happens is when you have someone that moves in those apartments, they get comfortable. They don't find an exit. So I know what's needed is those that live in those apartment communities, we need to give them the skills necessary so they can become homeowners, so that they can go forward, get a home built from the ground up, or purchase a home that's already in existence. And then what that will do, it would actually free the other residents that live throughout the city who actually live in deplorable housing, and they need a decent house that they can move into. So, that shift needs to happen. So that's definitely an opportunity that I need to see. We need to free some of those apartments up. Other opportunities is, as far as with the youth, I see multiple areas where it could be buildings in place. There could be outside parks, for the youth. There's an area just outside of Bailey Road. It just made it in the city limits. It's on Dalesville Road. It's about 16 acres of land. It's sitting there for sale, $75,000. I just want to get a group of people together, and the city doesn't have to be involved in that, but I would just love for the community to come together, purchase that, and let's turn that into something. Let's make it into something. So those are the opportunities that I see within the city. And hopefully if I'm elected, I've been trying my best to create a dialogue with the residents. As more opportunities come up and come available, I'm fully open to listen and to bring those other concerns to light to City Council.
2020 was a major year for Black Lives Matter movement, including Cambridge. And, I guess we all want to know what can be done on a city level to improve social justice and equality in Dorchester and particularly Cambridge. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts, what I know the city can do is we need more police officers who live in our communities. I know it's difficult to recruit because the police department, not referring to ours specifically, but police departments across the U.S., they've been given a bad name, according to the media. It's not a good light. Now, we've been very blessed that our police officers, for the most part, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Of course, you're going to have maybe one or two that push the envelope a little bit, but overall, we have a great police department. But with our police department, they're overworked and they're underappreciated and they're underpaid. So I believe the solution to that is we desperately need to, as a city, figure out what can we do to recruit more officers that actually live in the city. Even if we have to do some sort of cadet program. The Maryland State Police have a great cadet program where they get recruits straight out of high school. They train them. Obviously, they won't have a gun. They won't have any type of deadly force weapon. But just give them the skills. Give them the skills to be able to interact with the community. So this great relationship that we have, so we can build upon it. So that what's going on around us in the other major cities, we won't have that issue because we're essentially policing ourselves.
The other big issue that'll come up over the near term is what will happen to Cambridge's waterfront. And I've been asking candidates whether or not you have your own kind of vision for what could happen down there and what's important to you.
Well, what's important to me to the waterfront is we need to take advantage of it at the highest level possible. For the longest time, we had a hospital there. And it was great. If you're in the hospital, you got a waterfront room, that's great. Those times are done. It's time for us. It's time for us to make that waterfront a profitable source for our city. I don't know why we don't have billboards in Easton, letting the driver know, hey, you're about to come across something great. We should have sailboats in the water. We should have all sorts of activities. I'm envisioning like a hotel or maybe even a timeshare, because something amazing about a timeshare, is the fact that they kind of sort of have to come here. Once they sign on their dotted line, they kind of have to come. And then, once we get that situation going, I could see like restaurants along the waterfront, and I also see us still having public access to the beach. No one should own that beach. That should still be access to all residents that live here. And it should be welcoming to all residents that live here. I don't want to say anything negative about the Hyatt. The Hyatt is an amazing resource that they bring to our city, but unfortunately, it kind of makes some people in the city feel like they're not welcome there. We don't need to do that on that other side. So once the construction is complete, it needs to be something to make these 15 million cars that are traveling up and down this Route 50 corridor to say, what's going on over there? Hey, we have nothing to do this weekend. Let's take a ride to Cambridge. So that's the vision that I have for that. I am aware of some of the proposals of the, of the memory care facility that they were proposing. I think that's awesome to have that in our city, but I don't think that's a great idea. Obviously, one person will not have a final say. I think it matters what the community wants. But my personal opinion, I don't think that's the best location. I think we have multiple locations for that particular facility. But as far as that area, it needs to be family friendly. It needs to be full of entertainment, and it needs to shout, "This is Cambridge tourism pull over, spend some money, have some fun. And hopefully we can get that flow of traffic going downtown as well.
You know, we'd like to give everyone a chance to kind of make their own case. If there are things that you would like the community to know about you, or where you stand on certain issues, this would be a good time to do that.
I'm a mom. I'm a later stage mom, which means my definition of that means I have children. They're older. My oldest son, he's in his third year of college. He's a music composition major at Furman University of South Carolina. He's doing really well. He's actually already making plans to try to figure out what he's going to do with his master's program. He was talking about Yale. I think that's in Connecticut. He's a very bright kid, very smart. And I've been discussing other opportunities such as maybe Howard. It's a little closer to home because he's been far away for too long. So it's time for him to come back, time to come a little closer. So, but it's going to be up to him. I have two younger sons. My middle son, he's in his senior year of high school. I'm thinking he's going to be an electrician. He's in that program they have at Dorchester, at the local school here in Cambridge. And then my youngest son, he's a junior in high school. So I think he's leaning more towards arts and drawing. That's his gift. He's very talented. So I am a mom. My kids, they're very involved with my campaign. They help me pass out flyers. They help me hold signs. That's something that's a very special part of me. I really appreciate them. They really made this job, being a mom, not a job. They really made it easy. So I'm a hard worker. That's the other part with me. I'm a hard worker. Wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I've always worked hard. My parents taught me morals and, respect. I have a lot of respect for everyone. And I just have a goal that I want to help everyone and I want to work with everyone.
Are you a native of Cambridge?
I was born and raised here in Cambridge. I kind of had the idea that most people had when they got out of school, I'm going to move away as far as I can and never, ever come back. Because I just felt like there has to be something better than this. So I've lived many places. I lived in San Diego. I lived in Salisbury. I lived in Queen Anne's County. I lived in Washington, D.C. But it's like, this is home. So I want to do my part instead of running away, which is something that the culture here kind of does. It kind of makes our talented youth run away, but it's time for us to come back, to do our part and to make the change.
Thank you, Lajan. I appreciate it. Good luck on Election Day. This is Dave Whelan from Cambridge Spy and WHCP Radio.